Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting installment of FANPASTA. Today we are reading two stories, both of which are by the show with no name, Cream.mp3 and Cream.mp3 2, Here Comes the Arm. So here's the first one, Cream.mp3. At exactly 4:23:57 1896 p.m. Jacob, Toby and Matt were eating spag bol and drinking tea, since 4 was the City of London's federally mandated spag bol and tea break. We always live in London in these stories.
Well, don't you know that that's the only city in the entire country?
Yeah.
The 3 had to stop reading a creepypasta they were reading for their internet show. They didn't mind much because the crappy poops they were reading, Jeff the Killer versus Eyeless Jack,
Oh, please tell me that's not a thing.
was epically terrible,
Nice touch.
even by bad creepypasta standards. Matt and Jacob were chatting across the table about cricket and soccer, which they referred to as football for some reason, while Toby sat dejectedly on the floor. He had to sit on the floor because he had broken his chair with a pillow. The doorbell rang, but nobody could hear it. While walking to answer the door, Jacob walked through a TARDIS that suddenly put everything in the present tense. Grumpy at the interruption, Jacob proceeds to open the door. To get on the floor, everybody walked the dinosaur. There isn't anybody there, just a pile of kiddie vomit and a package that says To Blue Majora. Jacob is shocked. He had never come across a package before that could say anything. He goes inside, walking back through the TARDIS, swapping the tents for probably not the last time. Inside, Jacob told his friends about it.
Maybe it's just a prank from that kid next door.
Toby suggested.
Yeah!
Matt agreed.
That kid is a... I try to do it normally.
Oh no. You can't speak again, can he?
That kid is immature and a bit dickish. Almost like a kid.
Why did you sound like a black William Shatner?
I was just thinking, what do you think, special guest R. Kelly? All 3 were apprehensive, but since the alternative was to keep reading Jeff the Killer versus Eyeless Jack, they examined the package.
Yeah, fuck doing that. I'll rather do anything than that.
We do try and find a lot of excuses not to read this shit.
On it stood a CD case. Written on it in bright grey was Cream.mp3. Then in smaller words, this CD case is not bread compatible.
Oh, damn it!
Inside the CD case was a Game Boy Advance cartridge without a label.
Do you have a GameCube?
Matt asked. Yeah, Jacob replied. It's in the attic behind the teddy bears and red phone booths.
Because that's how red phone booths work.
So, like, you're the fucking Joker from the old TV series.
Matt went up to the attic while Toby and Jacob looked up whoever the hell Cream was. As it turned out, Cream was an annoying rabbit from the Sonic series.
And it also goes rather well with strawberries.
These are the jokes.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Also while watching tennis. No one outside of England will probably get that.
Her first appearance was in a Game Boy Advance game. Neither of them had any idea why somebody would make an MP3 file about her and somehow turn that MP3 into a Game Boy cartridge. They set up the GameCube and put the TV on as a dress. Then they actually turned on the TV. The standard animation for a GameCube game began, only at the very end the screen changed drastically for a split second. Luckily, humans have perfect memories that can be played back and slowed down frame by frame. So they were able to perfectly see what it was. It was Cream the Rabbit, but she had completely empty black eyes that had absolutely nothing in them. In her eyes were 2 pink dots that glittered with girly malice.
I'm loving this.
The second girliest malice after the one in Castlevania 64. There was no title screen, and the game cut to Amy. She was wearing a skirt or something. She was in the Green Hill Zone, only it wasn't the Green Hill Zone at all. It had green grass, a blue sky, and brown checkers. And then in parentheses, they were really checkers, spelt the American way, but I have to describe it in British, on the ground. Nothing happened for exactly 43.97 seconds, and suddenly the screen was littered with dead chows, all with their necks broken. A text stood that said, "Queer?" in pink letters. Can't we just quit? This is boring and stupid, Jacob complained.
No!
Said Toby.
You especially said...
That is true, Jacob admitted. It feels like we could be doing more productive things.
Like Gay sex.
Nah, dog.
said Matt. Jacob never thought about it that way, so he kept Amy to continue. Amy was windowing about when she came across a knife. She was going to pick it up, but it sounded like it had no reason, so she didn't.
I just dropped my phone. Oh.
She continued on. Amy walked, she clenching her eyes shut for moments at a time, often falling over in result.
She clenching she eyes.
Exactly 25 seconds later, Cream appeared, and Amy walked up to her. Amy began to say hi, has reached the judgment. But then Cream punched her so hard in the face that Amy's wrist broke. Cream vomited hyper-realistic pink vomit all over Amy, who immediately died of massive mind loss. All three of them were absolutely bamboozled. It was as if a terrible creepypasta had come to life. Then a message came up. It was hot pink in Curl's MT, so it was difficult to take seriously. At least it wasn't in Comic Sans.
That is true.
You cannot escape. You will die in immediately. Ha 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 ha. The game cut to a second level, this time playing as Silver.
Ugh, it's no use.
Yo, is this just a dumping ground for Sonic characters nobody likes?
Matt out.
Dog! Hippity hop!
Hippity hop! God, it's like having Vince 12 live in the room with us.
Shit!
Shit, man.
Silver was in the Hydro City Zone from Sonic 3, except everything was underwater. Before he could even move, Cream ran in and kicked Silver in the balls. Then, just for good measure, she pulled out a piping hot pepperoni pizza hot pocket and dumped the contents all over his manhood. Silver rolled up into a fetal position, started crying.
Shitting everywhere!
It would have almost been comical if the situation wasn't so serious. Oh wait, the situation wasn't serious at all, so they all busted up laughing. Because it's party time. Once again, there was a text that appeared. Stop laughing, I will kill you all.
Ha ha ha!
In the next level, the playable character was Cream herself. Jacob got annoyed and made Toby play.
Immediately lost all the lives and game over.
Matt sat on the couch making fun of them. Jokes about Super Brute Bros.
Nobody watches it. Cream appeared to be in a city, skipping down sidewalks and around pedestrians that didn't seem to notice her. Whoa! Exclaimed Jacob. I recognise where she is. The other two did as well. She was prancing down the street where Jacob lived. Cream stopped in front of a perfect 16-bit rendition and rang the doorbell. Just as she did so, the doorbell rang in real life, only it sounded like it had pixels.
See, this is where the story falls apart, because if she walked skipping down the street, she would have been mugged about 4 times and then kicked in the teeth.
We'll make it around this street, Cream.
Nobody wanted to answer the door, but it continued ringing. Matt eventually caved in and walked to the door out of sheer annoyance.
I would have made Toby do it.
He never came back. After 10 seconds, he came back. Screaming bloody murder and covered in pink vomit.
Bloody murder! Bloody murder!
He was followed by a Cream plushie. It had a tag that said eBay on it. As Matt died of MML, Toby went to get his wand. Before he could do so,
You're a wizard, Toby!
I'm a what?
the Cream plushie unleashed the Toffee Crisp vampire on him, who bit his head off.
Fucked him like a buck.
Then Jacob put it all together. All these awful creepypastas really were real. Sonic EXE, Squidward Suicide, Jeff the Killer and such were all things that actually happened. But they didn't work alone. It had always been an inside job. Cream was the evil puppet master, orchestrating all these terrible events. Not only creepypastas, she was also behind 9/11, the Illuminati and JC the Hyena.
That's the worst!
It was all a conspiracy!
It always is!
Frantically, Jacob reached for his webcam, desperate to send out one last message to the world before he reached his expiry date. His last moments were caught on video. There immortalized were his last 4 words. Like, comment, and subscribe. And that is Cream.mp3. What do we think of it, guys?
Absolutely hilarious. Bring on
It's
part 2.
one of the best documentaries I've ever read.
I mean, yeah.
And this here is Cream.mp3 2, Here Comes the Arm. It has been precisely 8 or 9 months-ish since the deaths of Jacob, Toby and Matt. Nobody really knows what happened to them, except me apparently, since I was able to describe it in great detail. The only people who came close to knowing were Vince 12, Alexo and MD Phantasm. They are all dead now.
Sucks to be them.
Oh wait, ... That sort of spoils the ending, doesn't it? Just forget I said that.
Okay.
Any hoozle, this is their story. When Alexo got the call, he was watching anime and wondering which pasta to read next on his internet show. He went to go pick the phone. The voice on the other end sounded precisely like broken glass being scraped against concrete. It said one sentence before hanging up.
That's what it sounds like.
Look at your email. That was sure lucky, since Alexo had just decided to never check his email again for no particular reason. The only email in his inbox said, "Go check your mailbox." The only two things in his mailbox were a couple of plane tickets and Tekken Tag Tournament. Naturally, he dropped everything and went off to where they led him. The first plane ticket was a first-class ticket to, I don't know how to pronounce that, Dulles Airport?
Dulles?
I don't know.
Where?
While,
Dulles?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he couldn't go to the airport. He couldn't go on the airplane because he took his copy of Street Fighter Tekken Tag 2. Yeah, you know, I'm getting that.
While in the waiting room for the second flight, two familiar faces walked in. The first was Vince 12, and the second was MD Phantasm, who was wearing the face-concealing helmet he always wore ever since he discovered that he was the long-lost third member of Daft Punk or something.
Whoa! Nice.
They too had gotten the plane tickets in the mail. While they were discussing their ideas, some random guy walked up and gave them a letter. He then walked off to rest his feet. The letter was short. "Hey assholes, come to my house, Jacob Sherwood."
That does sound like you.
It really does. It's like, fuck you.
Seemed legit. So they boarded a flight. They boarded a flight to Britain City, England.
Britain City.
On the flight, Alexo was challenging Night of Oin by the Proto Men. Phantasm watched the in-flight movie The Exorcist, except this version was under its working title, The Squidward. Vince 12 just slept. He had a bad dream, but the weirdest part was that when he woke up, he was on fire. A few shark-whacking hours later, the plane landed on the ground. That was really lucky. Planes generally stay in the air forever. The three took a train to Jacob's house and experienced a world of emotions. Joy, sorrow, the greatest triumphs, the lowest tragedies, all in like 10 minutes. When they got to the house, they saw three mannequins dressed in the clothes that Jacob, Toby and Matt wore when they died. But, ... since none of them even know these three were dead, much less what clothes they were wearing at the time, they weren't frightened at all. They went inside and saw that the place was a mess.
No change there.
Furniture was flipped everywhere. Jacob must have read The Real Chuck E. Cheese again. And they couldn't walk without stepping on a Bedfordshire clanger. Jacob was nowhere to be found. Maybe do like a sound.
Me and Matt died of a Bedfordshire clanger.
Whoa!
Whoa.
This is messed up, dude. Not bodacious.
Phantasm said.
Totally.
Alexo Simple nodded. The only room not in a state of distress was the living room. Attached to the TV was a GameCube with an unmarked Game Boy Advance game in it. MD Phantasm started on the console. Quit insulting the console's mother and just turn it on. Wrestling. Vince 12 complained. MD Phantasm tried to, but somebody poured Jeff the Killer's scotch all over it, so immediately it burst into flames when he pressed the power button. The three panicked and desperately searched for something to put out the fire. Not only was the alcohol worse than napalm, but it was pouring rain outside, so the building would burn down much quicker.
They should pour some of that thingy of bleach we got. That put out the fire.
Yeah.
Vince 12 ran to the kitchen to get a fire extinguisher, but Jacob had one of those gigantic fire extinguishers that are affixed to the ceiling, so it was totally useless.
He did one of them joke ones and just covers the entire ceiling.
MD Phantasm ran to the laundry room to get a thing of bleach. He poured it on the fire, and since bleach is mostly water and is not flammable in the slightest, the fire was put out.
Called it.
The only problem was that the GameCube now had long black hair.
Look.
Alexo shouted.
So
pointing
so
at the
it's
TV.
underwater.
On its to protect the life cycle.
Yeah, that's the sort of voice
On
I
it
was going
stood
for.
pink curly text that read, "This is the end of the beginning of the end. It was what we said. It will get worse."
The day after tomorrow is a paradox.
They didn't even have time to register the awful grammar of that statement because in an actual split second the door was pounded by some unknown force before exploding in a run-on sentence that shook the entire apartment or whatever before vanishing into red static so the person reading this sentence can finally breathe. Riding on a stupid skateboard was Hero Brian, Homicidal Lou, and the photo negative Mickey Mouse from Abandoned by Disney. Mickey didn't like the arrangement because he was lying down and the other two were standing on him.
Whoa. Whoa! What? No! Jeff the Killer?
MD Phantasm asked.
Whoa!
Gee, if I find your waifu.
Jeff's on his honeymoon with Slender Man, Hero Brian explained in Leet. Toby.
Oh. But that's no matter.
Homicidal Lou cut in with a rather offensive accent.
It actually says that.
We are sent here to kill you.
With that, the three started fighting. Mickey went down with a single punch. Hero Brian was... Oh yeah, Puinch. Hero Brian was a little harder to take out, but went down when Vince 12 roundhouse kicked him by his stomach.
He's always doing that.
Lou, on the other hand, was harder to defeat. He assaulted the three with knives, kicks, and the fact they had to Google Translate everything he did from Spanish to English.
What? Spanish?
Because your accent is so awful.
His supreme lack of motivation to be a killer. Soon enough, they were all sick of fighting. Lou knew he had to use the trump card he had the entire time, but never used for some reason. Lou turned to fact them.
You three are harder to kill than I originally thought, so.
Lou admitted.
But I'm not in the harder. What?
But
What is
I'm
that?
not even homicidal Lou.
Oh, but I'm not even homicidal Lou. I'm Riri.
He took off his mask. He took off his mask.
Hashtag a spoil plushie.
The cream plushie vomited pink blood on them, and they know no more. Even though nobody was left alive to tell the tale, word still somehow got out about the deaths of the 6 people. Skeletons. The Cream.mp3
Burger.
The Cream.mp3 cartridge is now gone, and nobody knows where it went. Nobody even knows who made the cartridge or why they made it, though there are theories. Some people think it was the work of the Illuminati. The Illuminati has considered suing whoever wrote Blood Whistle for defamation of character. Fallen Insanity thinks it was made in the Bush administration. That it was made by the Bush administration by McDonald's to kill all the children in case Al-Qaeda won. We may never know. Anyway, several news about people worshipping some girl. Calls herself P and then just ... So yeah,
That's not really a bright side, is it?
I enjoy it.
Bit of an odd ending there, I think. It calls herself P ...
Ha, PP.
Yeah, I mean that is quite funny,
Yes.
isn't it? It's urine.
Toilet humour.
So, the Cream.mp3 saga so far.
I mean,
I'm hoping for a part 3.
it's epic. It's just completely rise and fall. Where will the story go next?
It's a roller coaster of emotions,
I gotta say,
thrills, spills.
I'm really enjoying them so far. They're really funny.
I don't know if I'm.
Join us next time on FANPASTA for fishandchips.exe.